today, let's see how we're gonna do this at home. I want us to kind of get a good feel for how that front leg front kick works.
Yes, sir.
And really the only way to understand this is to actually kick something. You don't necessarily have to kick something. I've done this where it's like, I've practiced at home where it's like I'll put my foot up against like a wall or a door or something, just so I can kind of get a feel for the toes curling back, okay? Because this is one of those things where doing it in the air is really, really difficult. It requires a lot of strength, requires a lot of flexibility. Getting those toes, getting that foot to go forward, those toes to come back. So, big open room, there's no walls or doors. So, what I've done in the past, for my own benefit, before we were allowed to actually use the heavy bags, was I just find something sturdy. You can do the same thing with like a tree or anything like that. And when I did it, I was doing it with the door because I could close the door. I could be careful with the door. I'm not as, the door's a little easier to replace than drywall. So that was my only reason for using the door. But you can kind of also, it's like, you can also leave the door unlocked or open. You kind of give it a little feel. It's just going to open. So whenever I did it, I wasn't actually kicking. I was just trying to get a good feel for what that contact feels like. So that's what we're going to do today in class with the heavy bags. Is we're just going to put our foot up to the heavy bag, and we're just going to see what that contact feels like when it's just the ball of the foot. Okay.
Yes, sir.
There. Because we want to make sure that what we're doing is we're not hitting with our heel and we're not hitting with our toes.
Sir.
Okay. Do not, I'm going to repeat this, do not try to kick anything with your toes. And the other thing is that we're trying not to come, okay, we're not doing our crane kick. Because if we're trying to do a crane kick into somebody's stomach, we're just going to break our foot.
Sir.
And especially with the heavy bags at school. So what the heavy bags at school is basically just a giant tube of plastic filled with water, and it's got foam wrapped around the outside. There is no protection on the bottom.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you're gonna feel that. It is hard.
Yes, sir.
That is 100 pounds of water. That's not gonna give.
Are these pretty expensive?
I don't
I
know.
was thinking about mine.
Think
But
of it.
I don't know how much I need to save.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was thinking about either getting this or like one of those guys.
Oh yeah, those guys are nice.
Yeah.
I feel like I could probably get one of those at like a academy or something.
Yeah, you get those. I think that's where these came from.
Really?
I think so.
These are nice. I like how this
these guys.
feels.
I don't know where the hydrocore's came from.
'Cause I definitely prefer this.
Yeah.
It just feels good.
The body opponent bag. They're a little bit.
I like those because it's like a realistic like person.
Yeah, there's a lot of things you can do with it too. Like you can practice like how does my punching get from there on the jaw.
Right, like
You
more.
can't get that here.
No.
The bad thing about both of these is they're not like real humans. Because on these things, they're going to pivot from the ceiling.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's ever going to pivot from the ceiling. So it's one of those things. Yeah, one of those things where as you go higher, it gets harder to do.
Right.
The real human, the higher you go, the easier it is to kind of push. But also with humans, they're a lot more flexible.
That's very true. No one's like this.
Yeah, nobody's gonna be like that.
Big block.
The body opponent bags, the bobs, they're really heavy at the bottom.
Mm.
They're very easy to knock. Okay. I'm gonna careful, don't tackle it. Oh, so this is something else you can do, and this is gonna sound silly. And you can actually stop this with a kick. So you do your kick, and then whenever it's had a chance to kind of come back, you just kind of like put your foot up there, kind of stop it a little bit. Please be careful with that. Yeah, it's actually pretty effective. Please be careful not to break your toes when you do it. Yeah, a lot of times whenever you're going to have somebody, when you're going to have an opponent come at you, they're actually moving. Unlike the heavy bags, we've got to pick up that stopping power. That individual's coming straight toward you. So having that heavy bag kind of swing at you a little bit can be fairly similar to. You're gonna feel you're gonna feel a little bit more pushback. Here's also the other thing on the body. The real human. If you hit them in the stomach, that stomach's gonna give a lot more than these heavy bags.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a little bit of a hold. So.
The only thing with those dummies is it's a bit smaller than most people. I mean, that's
They can be made taller.
Okay, I remember that one time you made it like super tall.
Yeah. I was trying to get you to kick it in the head.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to be able to kick people in the head, but you don't realize, like, hey, it's hard to kick people in the head. Not only just getting it up there, but you got to get it around their legs, their arms, shoulders, and
Right.
get them in the head, and then get your leg back down, past their arms and shoulders.
That's a good point.
All right, tame. I want to try punching, but I'm gonna have gloves today. Here's what we're going to do. We're not going to do very many punches. What we're going to do today is we're going to rub the skin off of our knuckles, and it's you can only do it so many times on one hand, and then you got to switch to the other hand.
Yes, sir.
I'm kidding. We're going to go really light on this, but I want to kind of get us to kind of get a good feel for that punch into the heavy bag, and I want you to kind of feel that stopping power that the heavy bag actually has. We try to put that punch in. The other thing is, for those of you at home that haven't been through this, one of the things that I talk about is that when we do our punch, the very first time you ever do that punch, you try to do it like we do in class, you can't get anywhere. It's just, the punch is just going to get stopped. Because you're so used to punching the air, and the air has no resistance. When we do our actual punch on the heavy bag, everybody's already been through this exercise. That is, we'll punch it for a little bit, and then it's like, we'll stop, and it's like, now what we're going to do is we're going to actually we're going to rewind a bit and kind of unlearn a lot of stuff, and then learn to kind of use those legs to do that punch. Okay?
Yes, sir.
So that's what we're going to do today. We're just going to practice. We're going to go slow. We're not going to try to do a fast, hard punch. What we're going to do is we're going to try to make sure that we're doing an accurate punch, and then when we get in for that strike, we'll make sure that it's those hips that are doing most of that work.
Yes, sir.
I can definitely see why people, when they use they wear those little tape.
Yes, because this is basically sandpaper right here. You can, if you want, you can put your knuckles up to it and you kind of slowly kind of drag it across and see that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to hit it hard. Yeah, you don't want to hit it hard and fast. And it's,
Well, the other thing too, if you like you mentioned, if it's accurate, it's
Yeah.
not gonna rub as much.
it's not gonna rub. So that's gonna be the thing. So we do get some kind of class. So I always have those gloves on, so because I don't want it to rub.
Right.
But as you get better at this, you're gonna go straight in, and if you go straight in rather than to the side, it's not going to rub. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So if you're feeling brave, you can start to punch it a little bit harder, but you gotta make sure that you keep your eyes on the bag. You push all the way through.
Yes, sir. Got like a tiny little chalk mark on here.
Oh, nice.
Got a good target.
spot.
It's right in the center too.
You can aim for. And if you get a chance, you can switch your feet. So I'm gonna do an anecdote on this. I know Mr. Nelson, you used to play baseball.
Yes, sir.
So one of the things that I learned, like when I was younger, was they always say keep your eye on the ball. This is the same thing. You keep your eye on the heavy bag, because
Yes,
a lot of
sir.
times what you'll see is like if it's kids, or if you're somebody that's new to baseball, you're watching your glove. Because this is the thing that's gonna get hit by the ball. So normally we think, this is what I need to watch, make sure this gets in the way of it. But the thing is, your body knows exactly where your hand's at. So you need to keep your eyes on the target. Your hand is gonna go,
That's a good point.
straight to it.
It's a really good point, actually. Seems obvious, but
I mean, it's the,
But yeah, I
After
know
you
what my
hear
head
it,
is, yeah.
after you hear it, it seems obvious,
Yeah.
but like when I see so many students that they're watching their fist, or they look away. But you're gonna have so much more accuracy if you just keep watching your target.
Oh, yeah. This taped part also is
Yeah,
perfect
you
where I
can use,
don't
you
skin
can use
my
that
knuckles.
as, that's where you, yeah, just get a little smoother.
I don't skin my knuckles or anything. It's a good target.
Don't trust that you won't skin your knuckles.
Yeah, it's inevitable.
So what I want you to do, instead of just kind of like hitting that jab in, is I want you to go straight, then I want you to push through. And then go slow, yeah. Because what I want you to do is get a little bit closer. You're gonna straighten everything as hard as you can. Yeah, that's gonna be the hard part. So you want to get it to go straight in the center. Push. Yes. I want you to kind of get a good feel for how that feels push, because that's where your punch is going to work. The punch is going to go right in. Oh, this is the other one. It's like I also talk about that corkscrew. Please be careful about the corkscrew here. Corkscrew is like when we're actually fighting, like when we actually have the gloves on. If you do the corkscrew here, you're going to kind of mash those knuckles into the bag. Don't do that right now. It's great for like you get to get that knuckle in somebody's eye. Just kind of get that twist.
That taken out of context would have been really good.
Yeah.
It's great when you just twist it into
Just
that.
twist it into somebody's eye. All right, team. Okay, let's take this and let's put it into our combo. So we're gonna
Sure.
front hand front punch, front kick, and then backhand front punch. So this is the punch that we just did, that kick that we just learned. I want to make sure that when we do this, we're gonna go slow. I'm gonna count them out kind of slow. We're not gonna do very many. I'm gonna do 3 on each side. What I want you to focus on is think about what it felt like when you hit the heavy bag.
Yes, sir.
This is another one of those mental exercises where like we're switching the way you do it, and it's going to change the way you actually do it.
Yes, sir.
So think about the heavy bag. Stance.
Yes, sir.
Stand tall.
Yes, sir.
Pretty stance. So it's that front hand front punch into the heavy bag, front leg front kick into the heavy bag, and then that backhand front punch. That was 1. 2. 3. Say us, we're just gonna push your feet, we're not gonna turn around. Front hand, front punch in the heavy bag, front leg, front kick in the heavy bag, and then back in. With 1. 2. And 3. Good. Feet together.
Yes, sir.
Ooh, it feels a little different from when we normally do our
Yes, sir.
formations. Yeah. You're gonna kind of get that sense whenever we're just doing this and your arms are just flailing versus you're thinking about the application.
Yes, sir.
This is gonna happen a lot. For those of you at home, the application is gonna help immensely. Okay. If you did have a heavy bag, or if you had something that you could actually practice on, it is gonna help your punches and kicks a lot.
Yes, sir.
All right. Let's line up.
Sir.
And bow out.
Bow to head instructor.
Bow to beginner level students and everybody at home.